or October, November, and then December, and then watch what happens when we go to 2009. Look at that. All the sun can do now is blow little smoke rings out the side for some reason. It's completely different. It's acting unbelievably different than it did before. You're not getting any coronal mass ejections out of the north or south of the sun. Everything's coming out of the sides like that in little smoke rings.
Wow. What's the... You're going into the explanation? It's like there's some kind of pull.
Like I said,
pressure.
I can't get into my own personal opinion about things, but what I can do is just show you what I found. And you guys have to put it together on your own. You know, it's there's a lot of information here. So basically, the sun has dramatically changed in the course of a couple of years. The reason why I started at 2003 is because that's when the NEAT comet went by. The NEAT comet was covered up by NASA very well. They did a good job, and I'll show you how they did that. This was the sun back in 2002. This is the sun today. There's the difference. Okay. Now look at this. This is from NASA itself. The radiance of the sun. Look in 2003 when that comet went by. It dropped all the way down to the bottom of the scale. Same thing with the sunspots or the magnetic field. 2003 it drops down tremendously, and also 2003 the sunspots drop right there, right when that so-called NEAT comet. Right here, NASA tells you, it turns out that none of our models were totally correct. The sun is behaving in an unexpected way and very interesting. Let's see here, set a space-age record for sunspot. In our professional careers, we've never seen anything quite like it. Solar minimum has lasted far beyond the date we predicted in 2007. So, all their predictions for what the sun's supposed to be doing are way off. The North Pole movement suddenly jumped. It was going along fine, and then all of a sudden it just started taking off. Here's the article about how Canada's losing their North Pole. And also the South Pole has slowed down. The South Pole is moving along at a good clip, and now it's slowed down tremendously. So you've got the two different poles doing different things. This is interesting here. This is right on National Geographic. Earth's core magnetic field changing fast. What is so surprising is that rapid, almost sudden changes take place in the Earth's magnetic field. The findings suggest similarly quick changes simultaneously occurring in a liquid metal core 1,900 miles below the surface. So you've got rapid changes in the Earth's core. Let's see here. The Chandler wobble is basically the wobble of the Earth. They don't really know what causes it, but there was this anomaly in 2006 that they haven't been able to explain. It took me forever to verify that this was a real graph from the Observatoire de Paris, but yeah, this is actually a real graph. They're the ones that monitor pole movement, and there's a major anomaly that's unexplained in there. The cosmic arrays in 2009 increased 19%. That's right from NASA's their graph. They were expecting the cosmic rays to be here, but yet they're up here. Okay, so because of the magnetic field is going down so high, 2009 cosmic ray intensity has increased 19% beyond anything we've seen in the past 50 years. We're experiencing the deepest solar minimum in nearly a century. So something's going on with the sun. Natural disasters up 400%, which Oxfam is blaming on global warming, which I call bullcrap. And also, it's no freak air farm was a normal pattern. The number of people affected by extreme natural disasters has surged by almost 70%, with flooding up sixfold. Okay, and then they try and tell you the number of geothermal events like earthquakes and volcanoes has barely changed. No, that's wrong. They have changed. I'm not going to really include earthquake data in here because of the fact that there's been a lot of question of the USGS and what information they're putting out. I've seen a lot of different things happen, so I don't want to. That's why I'm not including temperature data, because if we all know by climate data, we don't know what the real temperature is. We've been told different stories by different groups of people, so we can't tell what the truth is. So I'm not going to include that in here.
New Madrid in the Mississippi. What about the New Madrid stuff?
The fault line? What about it?
I mean, so you're not going to put those back in the
Well,
information
that what I'm doing is I'm putting the things that I can prove. You know, that's what I'm doing. I'm putting all the things in here that are fact. You know, I know the New Madrid fault line is there, but I mean, they had the Haitian earthquake just recently. I can't really get into my conjecture about the earthquake stuff because, like I said, I've seen so many anomalies with the geological survey that I can't tell what the truth is, so I can't put it in here. You know what I mean? I can only go by what I know what the truth is. Bees are disappearing. I'm sure we've all heard of colony collapse disorder. Okay, well, the bees are disappearing. Populations have been disappearing at alarming rates. Okay, and scientists don't know why. Well, let's look at how bees navigate. Okay, when a honeybee finds a food source, she uses the tools in her solar compass, which lets her remember, even if it's a cloudy day out, where the food is, where the hive is, and how to get back to the hive. Well, what my own personal belief is that the bees are going out and they can't find their way back. And bees have very high metabolism. If they don't get honey fairly fast, they'll starve to death. So they go out, they can't find the hive, and they end up starving to death. So the colony collapse disorder is a big deal because a lot of our fruits and vegetables are pollinated. Down in the Gulf, there's all these whale shark sightings that are baffling scientists because they're not normally in the Gulf of Mexico. Also, this weird freak sandstorm hit Sydney. Ever seen anything like that?
No.
Okay. This is right on ABC News.
September 21st.
All right. Now, this is where the so-called Neat Comet. Okay. This was the comet that went by the sun in 2003, right here. Okay, look how big it is. I'm going to pause it here. You see, that's the size of the sun right there. Look at the size of that. Okay, that thing went by the sun, and NASA said, oh, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. Everything's cool, everything's fine, don't worry about it. All right, so that giant comet went by the sun. The BBC reported that it seemed to be struck by super outbursts of gas from the star. They also said that its calculations show it passed through the inner solar system once before 3,700 years ago. The comet is unusual and it's very large and very bright. In fact, it's the brightest comet ever observed by one of SOHO's instruments. And what did they do? So I had questions about this comet. Okay, as soon as this loads here. I had questions about this comet because there were all kind of anomalies with this, like this image here has this thing in it for some reason, which is out of this picture. This image here is actually a chunk of this image, and for some reason they're superimposed on each other. This image came out the next day. Just one image, and that's all that they showed. And then this image came out the very next day, which has this big round ball and a coronal mass ejection around it. So I superimposed all three images over each other, and you get a straight line right between the three. All right, now you go to the next. So I'm an inquisitive guy. I sign up for astronomy.com to start asking questions, from professional astronomers. I posted a thread. What do you guys make out of the Neat Comet? It wasn't 10 minutes later, they deleted my thread. Okay? So I inquired. I said, why did you delete my thread? This is what I got in return. You have received a new private message from Astronomy Forums from the moderator. Basically, he tells me, you asked why your posting was removed. Unfortunately, some religious groups are using the Neat Comet to make claims of mass ejections from the sun and alleged NASA cover-up to support their interpretation of the Bible regarding the end times. As it says in the Bible, there is a time and place for everything. The Astronomy Forum is not the time or place for religious-based discussions. Whether or not you made your posting with any religious motive, or of course is of course unknown to me. However, the reality is that your topic has been hijacked by some religious groups. Unfortunately, this happens from time to time. What? So basically, you're not allowed to talk about a comet on Astronomy Forum. Okay, because it's been hijacked by religious groups. Okay, that was the reason why my comment was removed. So that really freaked me out. So I go to Google and I type in the actual name of the comet was C 2001 V-1. Right. For the web, you'll pull up 2,110 pages for it. If you go to news, did not match any documents. Okay, so you can't even find the comet in the news. Not one single story about the Neat Comet in the news. Neat Comet, type it in there, did not match any documents. But yet you type it in for the regular Google, you get 45,000. Okay, look at this. Space.com top one, alleged NASA cover-up of menacing Neat Comet. Do NASA fake comet flyby. These are all the stories on it. So basically they did a really good job, because most of you didn't ever hear of the Neat Comet, did you? Yeah, they did a real good job of covering that up. So there you have your Neat Comet. Let's see here. I'm going to skip this protostars. But remember I told you to remember Orion. Okay. Well, so I go onto Google. Google has a program called Google Earth, where you can look at the Earth or you can look at space.